Bora continuar o documentário, a parte 3, Mania Mortal. Bora.
So when Street Fighter 2 came out, I wasn't really too impressed by it. I think I finished it once, picked Zangief because I was a wrestling fan, and then kind of moved on. I eventually kind of fell in with a crowd that really got a lot out of Street Fighter 2, and so suddenly it became very apparent I need to get great at that game. One guy showed up and said, "Hey, have you heard of this other game, Mortal Kombat?" Like, no. What is Mortal Kombat? And he said, "Well, you know, it's like Street Fighter, but you can fucking kill people."
É melhor que
Okay, well, we
Street.
need to go see this game right now.
Street Fighter. Caralho.
I absolutely remember the first time I played Mortal Kombat. It was at Lions Family Fun, my favorite arcade.
My dad would usually give my brother and me $5 each and let us run wild while he went shopping.
I was at an arcade in Virginia.
The Q Lounge in the Bronx, New York. It was a space that was half smoky pool hall, half arcade.
He took us to an arcade 2 towns north, up to Santa Rosa. There's a place called Systems City. And it was like part skate shop, but in the back room, all the lights were off, and they had like 5 arcade machines back there.
I see this huge crowd gathered around a new cabinet.
And it was sitting there. There was nobody around it.
No one was playing it. It was just sitting there. What is this?
I just remember just like a big line around the cabinet.
Everyone is crowded around Mortal Kombat. It is simultaneously exactly like and nothing like Street Fighter. You know, the filmed presentation, the real actors and actresses and all of that really just, it's so striking.
In Mortal Kombat, when you were seeing those 2 big characters on the screen, I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Instantly, it was like, oh, it's digitized. It's real people. It was like, wow, this is incredible. It's like, how are they doing this? How did this game come to be?
I was blown away by how it looked.
Because it was a violent, bloody game.
Like, that's the first time I've seen blood in a video game that I remembered.
Even from a basic high punch, you just see blood flying out of these people's heads.
Liu Kang wins.
Even if I couldn't do the specials of certain characters, I could fall into a rhythm that just felt so good. Just like, you know, air kick, uppercut. And I was, oh, I feel like the baddest motherfucker in the world.
In a time where you didn't see that kind of stuff in games and especially in arcades where kids were, you know, running around with their parents, and parents were still freaking out too, kind of seeing what was happening.
My dad came up behind me. I didn't know this at the time, but the screen went dark. Kano ripped out a heart and held it up, blood dripping from it. And my dad went, "Oh, no," and whisked me out of the arcade. And that's when I knew I had to play that game because I was not allowed to play that game.
People getting chopped in half and torsos being dismembered.
Liu Kang wins. Flawless mentality.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that in a video game. I didn't know that was allowed in a video game.
And we're, you know, 16, 17 at the time, so this is the most exciting thing in the world.
The endings and how every character had, even though Street Fighter, they had an ending, but Mortal Kombat was like the first thing that really affected me that was like, I really want to play all these characters to see what happens. And this is before YouTube, so it wasn't like you could just go on YouTube and watch it. You had to, you know, earn it, right?
What's Kano's backstory? You know, what about Sonya? That's what we wanted to know about. And, you know, they specified a lot of it kind of in, you know, various screens and whatnot. You know, we were hooked.
But it didn't take long from there for that game to be literally everywhere. Every single pizza place, 7-Eleven, arcades, the arcades that were left at that point, all of them had a Mortal Kombat machine probably within a month.
Antes da internet existia em 92, nossa, aqui não. Um livro de quadrinhos. Nossa, eu tenho o... Como que é o nome, mano? É dessa época aí. Nossa, que tem o Gorba aqui. É o que tem o Gorba aqui que eu tenho. É esse? Será? Acho que é do Rei Gorba que eu tenho mesmo. Vou mostrar aqui, peraí. Achar é meme, hein? Se eu não achar é meme. eu tenho, velho. É esse, né? Dá pra ver aí? É esse aqui. Gorba. Tem 6 braços isso aqui. É essa, né? Ei, Gorba. Esse é o Goro, né? Vontade de brincar com a forma. Ainda preciso mostrar que sou. Nossa, esse Sonic é de herói. Esse maluco verde aqui. Nossa, mas essa... Será que vale uma grana essa HQ aqui? Pode valer 1K que eu não vendo. Sai. Aqui. Gaveta tudo MK. Nossa, que é a guerra dos 16 bits, né? O Super Nintendo e o Mega Drive. Mortal Kombat. Nossa, isso aqui. 93, junho de 93. Os. Aqui, comercial. Clássico. Os consoles, né? Deu uma madeira na Nintendo. Ai, vou ficar bravo que tem sangue. Vou lá no Senado americano tentar cancelar a SEGA. Mortal Kombat.
I saw a crowd gathered around a Mortal Kombat cabinet when I was 10. Told me that, okay, this game is a big deal at my arcade. I had no idea if that translated outside my arcade. Then Mortal Monday happened. Not just the day itself, but the build up to it.
Seeing the zeitgeist around it was huge. Conversations around Mortal Monday were happening, the first kind of big marketing push.
Acclaim was clearly, they knew what they had in their hands, and so they were doing a much bigger effort in promoting it. I remember them telling us that they were going to spend $10 million to advertise this game. And I remember saying, are you sure you want to put that kind of money behind this? And you know, in retrospect, of course, that was a right decision. But I remember being really paranoid, thinking that they were putting a lot on this game.
The preparation for the release of Mortal Kombat was just massive. I was working at Babbage's software. Pre-sales had started early, so like we knew we were going to be just selling out. It was all I could talk about.
I remember going to see a movie, I can't remember which film it was, and they were advertising Mortal Mondays, which was one of the greatest marketing blitzes in video game history. And it was just, you know, all these random kids yelling in the middle of a city street, Mortal Kombat, right?
Mortal Kombat! That commercial with like people running down the street screaming Mortal Kombat, and they were teens, and I was a little kid, and teens are the coolest thing you could be when you're a little kid.
You don't have to show screenshots or anything else necessarily. Everybody knew. All you have to do is just have somebody out in the middle of the street just putting up his arms saying Mortal Kombat. It's almost like, hi, it's here. It sells itself.
We were all like, yo, did you see that Mortal Kombat commercial? What is Mortal Kombat? And there was always like one kid who knew a little more. It's a video game, but you kill people. And all of us at Maplewood Elementary School were like, whoa!
We had 2 front monitors that were just showcasing Mortal Kombat videos. And
in the comics, on the back of the comics, there were Mortal Monday ads. There were Mortal Kombat ads in magazines. There were Mortal Kombat ads in subways.
Just seeing the standees and the posters and things at Times Square and
the signage that was coming in, every piece of memorabilia that was coming in, and T-shirts, and it was just over the top compared to other games.
I remember just being nervous about it, thinking, I hope this game lives up to it. Even though it was a huge arcade game, you just never knew.
Tinha os livrinhos, tem livrinho. Hoje em dia é tudo digital e o olho da cara.
It was a giant line.
Lacração.
And it was just so exciting.
That's when I realized, like, this is actually a bigger deal than maybe any video game that's come before it. Mortal Kombat became a pillar of popular culture within 12 months. It was, I think, the fastest a video game had ever exploded to date.
Nothing could prepare you for it. It was, it was just insane.
Aqui é pra jogar. Aqui, ó. Mega Drive. Ai, vou lá no Senado fazer questão. Sou a Nintendo. Tentar cancelar a Mega Drive. Eu nunca gostei da Nintendo, ainda mais depois do bagulho aí. Que a Nintendo é aloprada. Olha. Aqui é o Super Nintendo. Sem sangue. Que lança mortal sem sangue. Game Boy foi que ano? Nossa, que bicho. Nunca cheguei a jogar. Combate incrível aí. Revista. Nossa, dava gosto de chegar na banca, né? E procurar revista. Ó, Mortal Kombat no Brasil. Ó. Enquanto jogadores da América do Norte tiveram uma versão para Game Gear, os jogadores do Brasil também puderam contar com uma versão do Master System. Caramba, eu nunca tive o Master System. É, da Tectoy, né? Como mostra esse anúncio em português. Aqui tem sangue, sim. Com esse nome você queria o quê? Sopa? Aí, Nintendo! Tomou, velho. Tomou zoeira até da Tectoy, a Nintendo. Mortal na Alemanha. Melhor nem ler, hein, mano. Escolha esse lutador aqui. Vamos lá.
Mustard and myself grew up in a really small town. The closest thing you would have to an arcade machine is the local bowling alley may have had like a light gun game, but that's pretty much it. It was only the home versions that allowed us to experience the different franchises, and I feel like I unofficially speak for quite a lot of people our age, how important getting those home versions as good as they were was. So that the rest of us could still experience it in different parts of the world, the arcades weren't as common, especially those small towns.
Which side was I on in the home versions? There's only one side. Like, what do you know, it's just the Genesis version. There's only one version of the game. The Super Nintendo version is a travesty by comparison.
I actually thought that even though the Genesis was a little behind graphically than the Super Nintendo, I liked the grittier look of the Genesis version. It really felt kind of down and dirty the way Mortal Kombat should.
I mean, also the Genesis version had blood code. And the real fatalities and the dullard code and all the other cool stuff in it. I think that made up for like the music in the Genesis version being really hokey and some of that other stuff.
My friend had a Genesis. They got Mortal Kombat. His mom would come in every now and then just to look at the screen to make sure there was no blood flying.
Finish him.
And so what we would do is we would enter the blood code, we'd play a match or two, and then we'd hit reset, turn off the blood code, keep playing when she came in, and then she'd leave and we'd turn the blood code back on.
Nintendo screwed the pooch when they didn't allow the blood in the game, and they instead put sweat in it, which the Genesis version outsold the SNES version like 3 to 1 or something like that. Everybody wanted the violence, they wanted the blood.
Eles queriam homens suados, né? O Ladrel,
Nintendo
o
version
Gears,
feels like mud.
Era Verão.
Like the act of playing that game is so unlike playing the actual
Suor no lugar
arcade
de
game.
sangue, velho. Lacração, tutelagem.
So I really wanted Mortal Kombat. Not just to fit in, but because I loved it. I wanted it so bad, but my family didn't have a ton of money. So I scraped together all the money I had, and I was able to finally afford Mortal Kombat for the Game Boy. And that game is a experience. When you play Mortal Kombat in the arcade, it's a little bit heavy and you feel the power of those hits. Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy moves like two frozen people who were slowly trying to get close enough to hug. Like when you push the punch button, it would eventually move the fist forward a little bit at maybe 1 frame per minute. I cannot do a fatality in this game. I know for a fact they exist because the computer can do the fatalities on that pit level. Instead of having them fall off the stage onto spikes, at the end of each part of the level were just little drawn spikes in the background that you could knock them onto. And I think that was their like makeshift solution for having a stage-based fatality. Even as a kid, I knew it was not the best version, but I loved it so much. I even put in a Game Genie code that let you play as Goro. Like, I did every secret possible. I was gonna squeeze every single dollar I put into that game. And I still own it, and I'll still play it occasionally because I'm kind of a masochist. But there's something special about it. There's something that's kind of like pure about a Mortal Kombat game that's so weird and watered down and slow that it almost circles back around to being kind of creepy and mysterious.
I mean, they may not have been like arcade perfect, but to us, we didn't know any better. We didn't have anything to comparison. All we cared about was just, play the game, have fun with it, enjoy what we were doing, and that was about it.
Combate. Nossa, música. Música Tecnosíndrome. Projeto paralelo de jogos de verdade. Grupo Lords of Wrath. 93 fez tanto sucesso que gerou álbum completo no ano seguinte. O Sr. Scorpion vai a Washington. Medida que mais pais demonstraram preocupação com a violência dos jogos que seus filhos jogaram em casa. Políticos... isso aí é do bagulho do Senado, né? A lei de classificação foi em 94, né? Depois do lançamento do Mortal. Olha lá o impacto.
Video games were becoming more and more sophisticated, maturing.
It was around that time that we were realizing that video games aren't just for kids. The manufacturers of the home consoles still kind of thought of them that way. It's like, hey, this is a toy for kids.
We never made Mortal Kombat for 6-year-olds or anything like that. That was never the intention. 4 guys in their 20s, what kind of video game are they going to make?
In our minds, we were creating the game for a certain demographic of player.
Fans of Terminator, Bloodsport, Alien, Predator, all these movies. It was a game by guys in their 20s, 4 guys in their 20s. And nobody mentioned anything during the arcade days.
Once the game came home on the consoles, it came into people's living rooms, that was a shocker to the moms and dads of suburbia.
Blood splatters from the contestants' heads. When a player wins, the so-called death sequence begins. The game narrator instructs the player to finish, and I quote, finish his opponent.
My parents were very worried about the violence in Mortal Kombat because eventually they saw the news stories. They saw the news stories that were like you could rip out someone's spine or you could light them on fire. Like I had a friend who was not allowed to go to another friend's house because he had played Mortal Kombat with him.
And we also really didn't see a lot of animated blood in video games back then. It seems so commonplace today.
What is the difference in between this and violent movies? Why is it different?
No one's looking at movies in the same way as they're looking at video games.
Rock music before it, and comics and heavy metal.
You know, I grew up at a time, Elvis Presley's body was blacked out from the waist down because he was gyrating, and God only knows what that's going to do to today's youth.
I do think that there was a number of kind of politicians and other people who were looking for a scapegoat. Kind of this was it. It came along at the right time.
Kato wins. Flawless victory.
It was just like, video games are bad, and these are the ones doing it. I think the thing that made me most angry about it was it just felt like no one involved in any of this had ever actually played a video game or seen this stuff outside of very carefully selected footage.
It was like fairly kind of innocuous, and it was like kind of cartoon violence.
And yeah, it seems violent, but ultimately it's really just funny.
Yeah, it's like Evil Dead, isn't it?
The very idea that like Mortal Kombat was somehow going to destroy society or the fabric of our youth or anything was always ridiculous.
These home games had no system of ratings, right? Like a CD would say explicit lyrics or something. A movie would say rated R for violence or, whatever. And I think to me that was the fundamental issue. Somebody noticed and somebody objected to it, and we certainly didn't disagree with it.
And so I think that the reaction from Congress and everything at the time almost to me felt appropriate.
Yeah, I'd say having the conversation about violence in video games and ratings in video games ultimately is something that was going to happen sooner or later. Is the industry going to be able to self-regulate, or is the government going to have to come in and do a bunch of really dumb things?
I think that the rating system helps people make more informed decisions about what they're buying, and that included Mortal Kombat. If you're a parent who bought their kids games, they probably shouldn't have been playing Mortal Kombat unless you could supervise them. It was the next step in the maturity of the industry, and the rating system was kind of emblematic of that. It was a way to say, hey, here's this type of game, here's the type of content, make your own choice.
The rating system and stuff that came from it felt like the right choice, to make.
I think that if video games were like a squalling infant that was just learning how to crawl, Mortal Kombat got them toddling on their feet.
Capítulo 3, Teste Seu Poder. Já vai começar a falar do Mortal 2, eu acho. Teste Seu Poder.